What's up, golf sickos? Welcome to another edition of Dan on Golf, presented by Knockaround. I am joined, as always, by my trusty right-hand man, Ben Boscovich. I realized like 1 or 2 minutes before we came on that I didn't have a fun term for you this week.
Good default.
Yeah.
I'll take that all day.
You like that one?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, we got an unexpectedly big show. You know, sometimes you're a little bit nervous about these shows the week after a major, but a lot happened in golf this week. We had Kurt Kitayama won the 3M Open. We've got him on the show. We had Joaquin Niemann won. He's won 5 out of 11 LIV events this year, which is crazy. We had Padraig Harrington, Lottie, Woad making a lot of noise on the LPGA. There's a lot that went down this week. You know, sometimes you're a little concerned that it might be a little bit quiet after a major, but absolutely not this week. We're going to get into all of that. We're going to talk about the state of LIV Golf. We're going to talk about the state of the LPGA Tour. We also have probably one of my favorite interviews that we've done so far with a neuroscientist who I think people are going to really dig and kind of find his work very interesting. Before we start, it was a little bit of a heavy week on a personal note. On Wednesday, I hosted, along with some other members at Brown Country Club, the Tyler Zanes Invitational Pro-Am, which was really a beautiful afternoon honoring my friend who passed away suddenly at the age of 26 in 2020, who I grew up playing golf with, one of my best, closest pals, one of my first trip overseas playing golf with him. Ben was there. It was a really, really special day. We were playing and honoring my friend, and I want to give a quick shout out to, yeah, there it was, Jake Knapp called in, which was so nice. Right before the tournament, this was on Wednesday, right before he played in the 3M, almost won the tournament. We just had a gorgeous day, and it was really special to feel all the love in that room. We had a silent auction, and I want to give a quick thank you to all the people who donated in the golf world: Shane Lowry, Colin Morikawa, Billy Horschel, Matt Fitzpatrick, Bryson DeChambeau, Maverick McNeely, Matthew Pavone, Max Grazerman, Nick Taylor, Parker McLaughlin, Mark Blackburn, George Gankis, Sean Foley, Stephen Sweeney, Will Wilcox, and Jake Knapp. You guys helped make this a really, really special day. It's hard. It's always hard in year one with one of these events. There I am on the 17th hole with Big Lalo in the background. Lalo, the GOAT. You never know how these things are going to go, and I just felt an outpouring of love from everybody, and so I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who played or supported, and you know, hopefully next year we might open the donations to some of our community members who might be able to help us for a really, really good cause. So just wanted to say thank you to everybody, and thank you to you for coming.
Thank you. You put on a great event.
It was a special day.
The energy was palpable.
The energy was really special. Tyler was a really special kid, and we lost him way too soon. And nothing. My heart is still broken that he's gone, but it's also full with all the love that was in that room. And Jake Knapp, you know, I was overwhelmed that he did that, and he was in the mix this week. I thought he was going to win the tournament.
Hard not to root for him after that.
It was really hard not to root for him after that. I was wearing the Knapp, the caddy bib that I had from when we did the On the Bag shoot. And he was right there. It was sort of him and Sam Stevens and Kurt Kitayama, but Kitayama just kept making birdies. He just made so many birdies over the weekend. He entered the week 110th in the points. He's now up to 53rd, so he's in the playoffs, which is huge, absolutely massive for his career. It was another Looper Island week. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Kurt, I guess Tim Tucker, who was Kurt Kitayama's caddy, sounds like Tim dumped Kurt. That's what he told me in this clip that you're about to watch. But he wins with his brother on the bag. Joaquin Niemann also split with his caddy. We're going to talk about that. But first, let's watch me talking with the newest champ on the PGA Tour, Kurt Kitayama. All right, we are joined by the newest winner on the PGA Tour, Kurt Kitayama. What a weekend you just played. I was looking at your results. It was a real struggle in the first half of the year. How were you able to stay patient and believe that something like this was around the corner?
I mean, it's a long season. You kind of just have to keep trucking along. I've been starting to see some good form as of recent, and just got to trust that what I'm working on is the right thing. And you know, with John Deere finish, final round in Barracuda, just kind of building off that to, you know, to this.
So you had a different caddy on the bag. Your guy you were working with a while, Tim Tucker. He worked for Bryson this week. How did that go down, and how did your guy do this week? Obviously, he did pretty well. You're leaving with the trophy.
Yeah. He decided to make a change and left me to do.
Oh, so he left
Bryson.
you?
Yeah, he did. He gave me a call after John Deere to take that opportunity, and so, you know, with short ties, figured my brother was going to be the best fit. He's caddied for me before, and just kind of trusted him for that.
So is it like he's gonna text you now? Be like, maybe that was all the difference, man. We should have done this. We should have done this months ago.
No, Tim, we're still good friends. Like, no hard feelings at all. Yeah, he's been great. He's helped my brother out. They're good friends, and so very thankful that he's helping him out to help me.
So coming on 18, so you hit it in the middle of the fairway, and then I assume you were trying to hit that 5-iron just kind of long of the green there, but it ended up in kind of a dicey spot. Can you walk me through your experience there on 18?
Yeah, I mean, I was more on 6-iron with how downwind it was. He didn't want to put water in play at all, so started on the 5-iron, and I just fanned it. I was trying to be. Did you think it was?
Were you sure it was going to cover, or were you like a little bit like, oh my goodness?
I mean, I was pretty sure, but in the air, you're looking at it, you're waiting for it to come down.
How freeing is that? I mean, winning on the PGA Tour, is massive. You're good for 2 years now. Like, I'm sure it changes basically everything about the rest of your year.
Yeah, I mean, I think luckily with Bay Hill win, I was exempt through next year.
Right.
Which, would help me not kind of be so stressed out this year. I could kind of trust what I was working on. But yeah, this gives me another year, which is awesome. So, and to get into the playoffs, that's big. That's where I've been missed out last year. Was trying to get back there, and this helped it.
Well, awesome, man. It was really fun watching it, and your brother. Hopefully, he gets the normal caddy rate. Are we committing to that? It's a big check.
Yeah, I take care of him. He's family.
He's family. Amazing. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Really, congratulations.
Appreciate it.
So yeah, only one event left in the regular season. We got the Wyndham Championship coming up this week, and then it's playoff time. And it's season's ending soon. The
Looper Island stuff with Kurt is a new twist on Looper Island. Because they're helping each other. He's like, Tim, help my brother. There's no drama. It's all love.
Yeah, it's an amicable. It just didn't. Sometimes in Looper Island, it just doesn't work out. You owe it to yourself to test connections, and sometimes the connections aren't right, and then you have to split off. We're gonna hop into now a little segment. It's actually not so little today. It's quite beefy today. The Knockaround, presented by Knockaround. These are the panoramas, guys. I've been talking about Knockaround all year. It's because I mean it. These sunglasses for the price, even not for the price, but for the price especially, are as good as you can get. Stop spending ridiculous money on sunglasses. You're just going to lose them, and you're going to be nervous about losing them the whole time. These have been with me the whole year. They're terrific quality. We have a promo code. So if you go to Dan on Golf, or if you go to knockaround.com and use the promo code DanOnGolf20, you get 20% off your first order, which brings these sunglasses into like the $20, $28 range, which is just a joke for how good they are. They're as good as it gets. We've had some comments recently being like, I've got Knockarounds. They're fantastic. Bang for your buck. It is hard to beat these. Lottie Woad. So if you don't know this name, you better get used to hearing it. She's 21 years old, from England. And in her last 3 starts, all in professional events, she won the Irish Open. She finished tied for 3rd in the Evian, which is a major championship. She was 1 shot out of that playoff, which Grace Kim won in fantastic fashion. And then she won this week at the Scottish Open in her pro debut. This was her first start as a professional. So she was at Florida State, and she decided to turn professional after her junior year, so she would have been a rising senior going into this year at Florida State. Interestingly, she wasn't even the best player at Florida State this year. They had the number 1 player, Mirabelle Ting.
Oh, yeah.
But Lottie was super consistent. Won the 2024 Augusta National Women's Amateur, so people probably know her from that. Taking the women's game by storm, and we're going to talk about her in detail in just a second here. Joaquin Niemann won LIV Golf UK. I made the mistake of calling this LIV London. It is not London. It is north of the Midlands, which is very far from London, and I actually pride myself on my knowledge of the UK, so that was a big mistake on my end. In my defense, it wasn't London initially, and then they moved it, but that's also not, that's not in my defense. I should be better. But Joaquin Niemann won. It's his 5th win. There's only been 11 LIV tournaments this year, and he's won 5 of them. So that's $20 million alone just there from winning those 5 tournaments. He's very wealthy, and he's very good at golf. I don't think anyone is denying that he's very good at golf. But anytime this guy wins now, because of how his major year has gone, or his major career has gone, that's all anyone talks about. So this year he went tied for 29th in the Masters, tied for 8th in the PGA, which was his first top 15 finish in a major. and he missed the cut in the U.S. Open and missed the cut in the Open Championship. It's an interesting week because he's no longer with his swing coach. From what I gather, his swing coach actually parted with him, so sort of a similar situation to the Tim Tucker, Kurt Kitayama thing, but also is no longer with his caddy, who he was with for a long time, who he almost broke his hand. We were talking about that when he stomped on his clubs at the Open Championship. But look, we're going to talk about LIV a lot, but I want to talk specifically about Joaquin Niemann. Two things can sort of be true at once. I don't think that LIV Golf is like the most amazing. The fields aren't that deep. I agree with a lot of the things people are saying online. I also don't think that Joaquin Niemann winning all these LIV events and not winning major championships is like a LIV problem. Bryson DeChambeau won a major playing on LIV. Tyrrell Hatton's been in the mix all the time. Brooks won a playing on LIV. It's a Niemann problem.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a LIV problem.
Is it also not even that unique to LIV in that, like, throughout the years of the PGA Tour existing, there's probably guys that have won like 2 events or 3 events.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely like an extreme example because he's won half of the tournaments.
Of them, but there are only 11. But
there's only 11. But yeah, I mean, look, we talked a lot about Patrick Cantlay and Sepp Straka. I mean, Sepp Straka won twice on the PGA Tour this year, didn't do anything in the majors. Justin Thomas won on the PGA Tour this year, didn't do anything. I mean, there's only 4 of them a year, and they're very, very hard to win. There's clearly like a mental block with Niemann. I don't think that it's a coincidence that he makes all of these changes after major season. He's not making the changes because of the way he's playing in LIV Golf. He's making the changes because of the way he's playing in the majors. So obviously the majors like matter a great deal to him, which is good. There's clearly like a mental block here, but I don't think that's just like, oh, this is evidence that LIV is like unserious competition or anything like that. It's just Niemann clearly has a very different energy when he's playing in LIV Golf events than when he's playing in majors.
We can't even entertain that argument on the other side of Bryson having won the U.S. Open.
It killed it. How about Brooks? Brooks the year before at Oak Hill. I mean, 2023 was like that. Well, that went out. I mean, I remember the first major after LIV existed was the 2020 some Masters, or I don't remember, but like I remember Patrick Reed was in the top 5 and Brooks was in the top 5, and it was like, okay, so these guys can still play. It's not they don't just lose all their powers. It's a Niemann problem. It's not necessarily a LIV problem, but again, there's not a lot of room for nuance on the internet. But I think what Rahm said, I asked him at maybe it was the U.S. Open when he came in on all those top 10 streaks, and I was like, what do you make of this? And he said, look, not all of them would be top 10s if I was playing on the PGA Tour, but also a lot of them would be. Right? There's room, there's gray area here.
Yeah.
Moving over across the pond, the ISPS Honda. It's Honda. ISPS Honda Senior Open at Sunningdale, which looked sweet. That's a Heathland golf course. There's a lot of Pine Valley comparisons. High up for me in the list of courses that I want to play. It was won by Padraig Harrington. He became just the 5th player ever to do the double, to win. Is that a mini claret jug?
That's cute.
It's like the claret jugette. I didn't realize that was the trophy for the Senior Open Championship.
It's much more bedazzled, but maybe that's just the names. They can't fit any more names.
Yeah, it's clearly a mini claret jug. It's got the same mouth,
same spout.
Same sort of spout. Yeah, good answer there. You've been really good today with the words. The words have been flowing off.
Sometimes, blind.
I don't know if you slept well last night or something.
I did sleep well.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. But Shane Lowry was loving it. He on social media posted some man, which is just you can so hear him saying that. Yeah, some man. Padraig Harrington's his 3rd senior major that he has won. And stay tuned. I think we've got some Padraig Harrington stuff coming later this year.
Cool.
Yeah, which is exciting. The NV5 Invitational on the Corn Ferry Tour was won by Johnny Kiefer, and I'm going to hit the honesty button here, Andy. So I just want you to be ready for it. Here it is. I made a mistake earlier today. I made a mistake that I won't make again. I trusted the chat during the stream. The stream said that Johnny Kiefer and Austin Smotherman and Neil Shipley all had 2 wins on the Corn Ferry Tour. So then I thought, okay, well, if Johnny Kiefer wins today, 2 + 1 carry the 1 is 3 wins, and that would be a Battlefield promotion straight to the PGA Tour. It was his 2nd win. He had 1 win coming in today, not 2 wins. So I put out a Instagram post saying that he had a Battlefield promotion. That is incorrect.
We were just excited about the return of the Battlefield promotion. We're bringing it back.
So that word, yeah. So Battlefield promotion, it's no longer called the Battlefield promotion. It used to be called the Battlefield promotion. We're talking about when you win 3 times on the Corn Ferry Tour, you immediately go to the PGA Tour. And they started calling it the 3-win promotion. And I'm going to hit the other button that I have here because you want to know what I think about the term 3-win promotion, Andy?
Smash that shit.
Utter woke nonsense.
That's woke nonsense. It's the Battlefield promotion.
I don't get the issue.
It's a PC principle thing.
We're bringing it back.
We're bringing it back. The Battlefield promotion. Johnny Kiefer didn't get it, but if he wins another tournament, then he does get it. But Johnny Kiefer is locked up. He won the NV5 Invitational at the Glen Club, which is the that event will always have a soft spot in my heart because that's the one we broadcasted when I was at Barstool. We did the NV5 Invitational presented by Old National Bank. I don't know if it's still presented by Old National. Is it still presented by Old National Bank?
We got Bush in the building.
Well, yeah, Alex Bush is here. By the way, our producer is here for the first time. He might make an appearance on the show. Stay tuned. Hamilton Coleman won the U.S. Junior. The U.S. Junior was this week. Huge tournament. This guy is from Augusta, Georgia, which is a pretty significant place in our sport.
That's Patrick Reed's hometown.
That's Patrick Reed's hometown. Yep. It's right next to the South Carolina border. Augusta Country Club is located there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's probably why you know that place. This was kind of random, but I wanted to bring it into the show. We did a video before we had this show, and it would have been a great blind ranking. Tigerisms.
Oh,
like
yeah.
all the things that he says.
We can still do that.
We can still do it, but we made a little social video talking about Tiger just has his own language. He's got his own language for golf. You know, he created Trad,
yeah.
But he also has one about like hot ones and tomahawk and spin you and kiss your cuts. There was a great one this week from a TaylorMade video. Can we play this clip?
This lie,
Yeah.
I'm looking off the lip of that bunker to the fringe, and I'm hitting a little hold handle and sticking it in the ground and just holding it off that bunker and just letting the hill and the winds be my friend and have as a backboard.
Okay.
Hold handle.
A little hold handle. Stick it in the ground.
Yeah, a little hold handle, stick it in the ground.
Nelly Corda, she was like, okay.
What? Okay, yeah. He just, I don't know if he makes these things up in the moment or if he just has that in his brain. I mean, I understand what he's saying.
If he showed us, we'd be like, okay, I get it.
I understand what he's saying. He's thinking about like, kind of a back footer, kind of like gets deep on it. But hold handle? I'm going to hit a hold handle. I'm going to say that to Alex Bush tomorrow.
Look how quickly you understood that, though. He's got it.
He speaks his own language. I thought that was fantastic. Victor Hovland was doing Victor Hovland stuff this week. He was working on that golfer tan over there in the Norwegian mountains. First of all, I got to get my ass to Norway because that looks like nothing I've ever seen before. And he's working on the golfer tan. And, Victor likes to go see things, which I appreciate. He went to I don't remember what tournament it was, but he would always go to the set of like Shawshank Redemption or something like that. He's like his favorite movie. And during the Open at Royal Portrush, he was going to Giants Causeway and posting photos. A lot of these guys, Scotty Scheffler said he was, it was a business week. He was in the hotel and then he was at the golf course. Victor likes to see the world.
Is Victor Hovland golf's most curious man?
I think he is. I think that. I think he is. He's definitely doing his own research out there.
Definitely.
He wants to know everything that's going on. And I want to bring on Alex Bush right now. Alex, you got to come onto the show because it's a big week for golf content. So it's actually a hot period for golf content. You can go sit down right there. So Stick, the Apple TV show, was renewed for a second season, which is great. And Happy Gilmore. I don't have strong feelings on Happy Gilmore because I haven't seen the end of it. Mm-hmm. But you do have strong feelings.
Yeah, a lot of chatter about people not liking it. I loved it.
You loved it.
I loved it.
And I think one of the reasons that you loved it was because of all the cameos.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to run me through your top 5 cameos because if you weren't if you're a professional golfer and you weren't asked to be in Happy Gilmore, you might be a loser.
Saying something.
Charles Howell III was in that movie.
There were like 74. I think 74 I saw.
74 total?
Yeah, saw some TikTok where they ran down every single one.
I mean, I guess Chad was like a big part of that. The amount of cameos in that movie. So Alex, and Taylor Swift posted about it, so I'm sure that didn't hurt ratings at all. But Alex, run me through your top 5.
All right. So let's go number 5. This guy's been a cameo in John Wick before. It's Boban.
Big Boban. I saw Boban at a bar. What's the bar in West Hollywood? I don't know. I saw Boban.
LP.
No. You can't miss him.
Yeah, well, he walked in. It was
like 7'5".
So he plays the guy. So I haven't seen the second half of the movie. He plays the on his shoe.
Larson.
Yeah, his son.
What do you mean? He plays Happy's son?
No, Mr. Larson's son.
Oh, okay. Yes, the guy.
Boss with the nails.
Yes.
Oh, that's and he was good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's number 5.
So number 5 was Boban. Number 4, Eminem.
What was Eminem's role?
Eminem was the heckler's son.
So they just went with the son?
I guess so. I guess it's a theme.
Yeah, okay.
But Eminem was funny. He got in a little tussle and he was fighting alligators in the lake and yelling Detroit while he's doing it. Pretty funny.
Okay, that's good. That is good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Boban and I thought we were going to be like Will Zalatoris.
Jackass.
I like it. We're all over the place.
Number 3, going to the golfers, Will Zalatoris.
Okay, there he was.
As everyone knew, he'd be Happy's caddy.
So he's
just grown up.
So he's grown. So Happy's caddy is Will Zalatoris?
Yeah. He's like, no. One of the best parts is the beginning when he pretty much says like, "Oh, I need a caddy." He's like, "I'm playing this week."
He's like, "I'm in the deal."
And the whole time he's like, "Wow, you can hit the ball." It's pretty funny.
That is good.
And Will's like.
I thought they were gonna just make him the caddy, but I like it better now that the caddy made good. You know, caddy's
a pro.
He's got a grudge with Sandler. He's like,
he's
choking me out.
He's like, oh yeah, no, it's fine, and he's like still pissed about it.
Okay, that's 3. I like it.
2 is Travis Kelce.
Okay,
he was great.
How do you feel? Because you're a massive Taylor Swift fan, but you're also a massive Buffalo Bills fan. So when you see that guy's face, like what do you have?
He was great. He can just do that. He doesn't have to play football, you know.
Okay, so that's the angle here.
That's
he was so good.
He was so good that he can retire early.
What was his role? He looks like he's serving drinks.
Yeah, he was at the Champions Dinner.
Okay.
He made a good joke with Jack, or not really joke. Jack Nichols didn't understand that he was asking if he wants an Arnold Palmer, and he's like, oh, I get that all the time, Jack Nichols. And he's like, ha, ha, ha. It was pretty good.
I missed all of. Oh, I guess I only saw the first.
He gets in a little fight with the busboy who's Bad Bunny, who becomes Happy's cat.
So they just basically they had a movie where like in any movie you need a bunch of extras, but I guess they just had so much like cultural cachet that they could just be like, hey, instead of this being some random actor, like let's just like
some were themselves, and some like this were just an actual character.
Okay, and the last one, number 1.
The last one is honestly it's from one part of the movie that like I was crying laughing was Scotty Scheffler.
It's all Scotty these days.
Well, he gets arrested and he goes, "Oh, not again." It's just I don't know why. It's the dumbest, littlest thing, but it was funny. They show him like in the cell watching golf, which is going on, kind of similar. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
So they did a lot. They really broke the fourth wall here with the Zalatoris stuff. It was a very self-aware kind of film.
The golfers were very personable. Xander had a few lines at the Champions Dinner that were
Rory was in it, right?
Weren't really hitting. Rory was in it.
Bryson. So they really emptied the clip.
Yeah.
JT was like a big fanboy.
No T-Dub though. No Tiger.
No
T-Dub. But he's referenced a bunch.
Of course.
Yeah. Because Happy's like in the same time as like Tiger's early like 97, 98.
Okay. Yeah, because Happy Gilmore I think came out right before Tiger started. When did the first one, like 95 or something like that? 96? Yeah, so it was right before Tiger, because the tour does look a little different. You can tell it's like in the first movie, it's like a pre-Tiger tour.
It is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't have that same energy. What a debut.
Yeah.
What a debut on the show. We're going to keep you right here because we're going to run an interview, and then when we do the interview, then it works out perfectly. So, it just felt like a good time to check in on the LPGA Tour. I'm up to my eyeballs in PGA Tour and all men's golf, and it's difficult to be completely locked in, but it felt like a good chance, especially with Lottie Woad and especially with a new commissioner coming on with Craig Kessler, to kind of just do a 30,000 square foot view of the LPGA Tour. And when I want to do that, I call in my friend Beth Nichols from Golf Week. She's the go-to for LPGA coverage, and here I am catching up with Beth Ann. All right, I'm joined by Beth Ann Nichols. I wanted to bring Beth Ann on to talk about. I actually reached out earlier this week to talk about all things LPGA, and then sometimes these things work perfectly. And Lottie Woad wins her first start. So yeah, I guess let's start with Lottie. So 21 years old, English by way of Florida State. Can you just explain how much of a meteoric rise this has been? I mean, obviously people will know this name from when she won the ANWA last year, but and I think there were high hopes for her going into her professional career, but probably not this fast.
Yeah, I don't know that anyone expects this for anyone, not even Rose Zhang. 2 years ago, no one expected her to win in her pro debut. But as far as Lottie goes, I think for most people, the Augusta National Women's Amateur last year was the first time that they got to know her. And she has an extremely complete game, and she just has this level head about her, an old head on a young body. So I think when you put her in these pressure situations, she tends to rise to the occasion. And the nice thing about winning the Augusta National Women's Amateur is all the major championship starts that you get. And so Lottie has actually played in 7 majors coming into her pro debut. Next week will be her 8th major, which is just incredible. She's played in more majors than regular professional events. So but what she's done just recently in the last few weeks, winning on the LET in Ireland, and then, of course, finishing 1 stroke shy of a playoff at the Evian to finish in a share of 3rd, and then winning her pro debut at the Scottish. it's remarkable given the fact that she, quite frankly, wasn't the best player on her team this year at Florida State.
Right, Mirabelle was better than her, right?
Right, she was the college player of the year, and it had the low scoring average. But the thing about Lottie is, you know, she has the most top 10s in Florida State program history. She's just incredibly consistent, and she's right there. She's not finishing outside of the top 3. And so I think when you look at the fact that she only had 3 bogeys for her entire, you know, week in Scotland, you know, that, as she said, that was key, especially around links golf. You know, she just has such a great levelness about her.
So I feel like in the men's game, which I obviously focus way more on, we've seen a sort of lessening of the gap between the top college players or the top amateurs and the top pros, right? You see guys like Luke Clanton who come in and have instant success. You know, guys like Jackson Koiven. You know, Michael Lasasso's having a great week this week. Is the same thing happening in the women's game?
Actually, it's weird what's happening in the women's game. When I first started covering the LPGA, you'd see a lot of teenagers winning, right?
I remember that, like right? when they were like 18 or 19.
Yeah, or 15 in the case of Lydia Ko, 16, Lexi Thompson, Brooke Henderson, Ariya Jutanugarn. The list of teen winners is long, but we haven't seen that in recent years. Instead, what we've seen is the really good players go to college and stay for a while, such as Rose Zhang, such as Rachel Heck, of course, who's not going to turn professional. But, you know, you look at Lottie, a player coming from England, obviously a strong player, but she was ranked outside the top 1,000 in WAGR when she was recruited. And so for her to rise to number 1 in the world, she's been number 1 for over a year now. I really think a lot of that for her has to come down to year-round practice, the amazing facilities at Florida State, to just take everything to another level, having that opportunity to really hone things in. That's the thing that her coach at Florida State, Amy Bond, has said. I've never seen someone get so detailed about what they're trying to accomplish in their game. Usually it's more of a broad thing. And so when I look at Lottie and just the way she's been able to take things up a notch at big events, I really think that college helped get her to that next stage. But it's just interesting because we're just not seeing the teenagers, you know, do what we've seen before, win, you know, come out of high school and win right away.
Well, the facilities have gotten so much better in college golf, and I guess, you know, those facilities are for both the men and the women, right? I mean, a lot of these schools, like I'm sure Florida, you know, I haven't been to Florida State. We've done this college series, and I went to Florida, and I went to Texas, and I went to Auburn, and, you know, the men and the women are practicing right next to each other. So I guess this sort of boon in men's college golf has carried over to the women's game.
100%. I mean, it used to be that there was this feeling that if you went to college, you'd get worse. And so, you know, like a Morgan Pressel really wanted to go to Duke, right? And instead, you know, she nearly won the U.S. Women's Open, and she won the Women's Amateur shortly after that and turned professional. But, you know, I think, you know, now there's not that stigma anymore. You can go to college and you can get better. The coaches are better prepared. Obviously, you can make NIL money now. That's more attractive, especially for American players, where you don't feel like you're losing out on some earning potential. And so, you know, I think it's great for their growth in terms of being able to come out on the LPGA and have staying power, because we're seeing, you know, the curve on the LPGA in terms of the lifespan of a player on tour is so much shorter. You know, they're retiring before the age of 35 now. That's pretty common. It's very rare to see a player even over the age of 40 competing regularly on the LPGA. So it's just gotten shorter and shorter as the teens came out. And so now when you see somebody like Lottie Woad, you know, maybe she'll play a little bit longer since she's 21, coming out a little bit later than we saw, you know, some of the 18-year-olds.
Yeah, it's a little bit less risk of burnout maybe, or at least a little bit later going on. I wanted to talk to you about the new LPGA commissioner, Craig Kessler. So big changes at the helms of both the PGA Tour, obviously, with Brian Rolap coming in, and the LPGA with Craig Kessler. I watched his interview with Claire Rogers. I thought he speaks very well. He seems very passionate. What do you know about Craig? And sort of, I know he had a quick little victory today that I want you to tell us about, but I guess what would be sort of the top of his agenda?
Well, I think he's already doing what's at the top of his agenda, which is relationships. And I think that was an area that Molly Marcoux-Samon, the previous commissioner, she struggled at. She came in from really way outside of the professional golf world. And so she had a lot to learn and was slow at getting to know a lot.
She was the AD at Princeton, is that right? Before?
Yes.
Yeah.
a lot of people looked at that as a strange fit. And so, you know, Craig, on the other hand, comes in, you know, obviously from Top Golf, the PGA of America, COO most recently. He knows all the big players already. He knows a lot about how to make things work and who to call if you don't know the answer to something in the golf world. And so that's a tremendous leg up. But he is, I think, first and foremost, a relationships guy. He's already talked to a lot of the key stakeholders in terms of title sponsors, players, you know, people on the fringes that most people might not know who those key people are, but I think he's doing a great job of establishing that, so that as he sees areas that he needs to tackle, because quite frankly, there are so many areas that he could choose from. I think, you know, obviously the LPGA, you know, needs more revenue. We'll start there. They need more folks investing in the tour, and they need more exposure. So, you know, reaching out to their partners at the Golf Channel and beyond to try to increase media exposure so that they have household names. I mean, we look at Lottie Woad right now. Still, a lot of people don't know who Lottie is, despite what she's been doing. And so one of the tasks that he's going to have is, you know, how do I take this rising star and make her well known, you know, throughout the world?
But it's so interesting because women golfers have this sort of burden, right? Like with Nelly, where it's like everyone expects them to be like the savior of the sport. And I feel like this woman, you know, this young woman was an amateur a couple weeks ago, and she plays amazing golf. And now there's going to be all this weight on her shoulders. What is she? What's her person? I mean, obviously you've spent. What's her personality like? Is she more in the sort of Rory mold of like, I like to do these fun things and grow the game? Is she more in the Scotty mold of like, I just play golf because I like competing and I have other things in my life? Like, where do you think she'll stand on that continuum? Because we've heard Nelly, you know, kind of speak her mind about feeling kind of ambiguous about it.
Right. So to know that Lottie Woad is obsessed with golf. Her coach says she's never had a player who loved the game more than Lottie, like just a pure love, golf IQ off the charts. So she really just definitely cares about winning and what's going on inside the ropes. And winning the Augusta National Women's Amateur was the first time she was really thrust in front of the media. Not her favorite thing. And so, but she's learning, you know, the importance of it. It's something that she knows she has to do. She's definitely getting better at it, more comfortable at it. She's a humble kid. She's not someone who, you know, is yearning for the spotlight, but yet she wants to have that moment, you know, on the 18th green for sure. She wants that pressure situation. She wants to feel those nerves under the gun. So, you know, I think, but she's not going to be, you know, here I am, look at me. That's not, you know, outside the ropes. That's definitely not Lottie Woad. But I definitely think she will want to grow the game and will want to do, you know, what she can do to help move the needle. But you're right, there is a burden there. And the burden is because, you know, you have stars like Arya Jutanagarn who are massive in Thailand. Same thing with Gino Titakun, massive, you know, areas on a Gatorade bottle, you know, the kind of stuff that we'd only see with like a Serena Williams here in the United States. And
we're like a Caitlin Clark more recently.
Correct. Yes. So, you know, you have stars like that in Korea, in Japan, you know, in Hanako Shibuno is bigger than any male golfer in Japan, which is hard to believe. She's only won once, but she was the first, you know, she won a major and it was her first time playing an LPGA event and playing outside of Japan. And she won the AIG Women's British Open. And so she became an absolute rock star in Japan. But the LPGA doesn't have that in the United States. And Michelle Wee West is the closest player that, you know, that the LPGA has had, you know, in my time in terms of really seeing media come out and flock to this player. You know, that did not happen. Even when Nelly Korda won 7 times, it's not like we saw a lot of media start showing up at events and it getting building and getting bigger and bigger toward the end of the season. That's not the way it was. People came out to the Annika to watch Caitlin Clark play in the Pro-Am, not Nelly Korda, who played alongside her.
Yeah, it's a fascinating and interesting question. You know, I wanted to kind of jump back to Kessler because, you know, we heard Scott O'Neill, who is the head of LIV, say that they got plans to enter the women's game. Are we going to see almost like a LIV PGA Tour battle part 2, or is there a different attitude after seeing how it went with the PGA Tour and knowing, you know, that this kind of Saudi money could be really transformational to the women's game? Like, what is sort of the attitude in the locker room of this sort of, it feels like impending Saudi investment or incursion, whatever word you want to use, into women's golf?
Well, a couple of years it was talked about a lot in the locker room, I can tell you. And almost every player on tour was willing to go where the money is. And so it completely would have gutted the LPGA, no question. Every star would have left. So now you don't hear it as much. I think LIV had so many issues going on that the women were kind of, whatever was potentially in play was put on the back burner. And the interim commissioner, Liz Moore, she went over to Saudi Arabia, first time an LPGA commissioner has gone over there to meet with officials. I know Craig Kessler has said that he will have those conversations. So I definitely feel like there's a more proactive approach that's going to be in play here, so to see how the two entities can work together, because obviously there's already a huge Saudi presence on the LET, which is, a partner of the LPGA's. They've infused a ton of money with the Aramco series events. So, and
some of those events I remember are in, or at least the one at Ferry Point, like there's some in the United States.
Yes, there's one in the United States that travels around. It's been in Florida. It's going to be in Texas this year. And the stars all play. Nellie's played in them. Lexi obviously won one. Nellie as well. So you've seen there already is an establishment. You already have LPGA players who are sponsored by PIF. So, they've got the logos all over their hats and bags and shirts. So, I definitely think it will take some kind of compromise here, because the LPGA can't exist if its star players leave. That it's just, there aren't enough.
Looking ahead to the Women's Open, Royal Porthcawl. We're going to Wales, right? I think. What do we know about this? Is a new venue. What are we looking forward to next week? And then as far as like the odds, the favorites go, where do you expect to see Lottie in that mix?
At this point, I mean, she's got to be at the top of the list. She's, the hottest player in golf at the minute, right? So, I definitely think she's, in the top 5 of players people will be watching. I think Minjee Lee is up there as well. Recent winner at the KPMG.
Excellent in the majors.
Yes. Had it finished right there with Lottie, 1 stroke out of the playoff at the Evian, looking to achieve the career Grand Slam. She thinks she needs to win all 5 to achieve it, as does Lydia Ko. The LPGA actually designates it as once you've won 4 different LPGA majors that you are considered a career Grand Slam winner. Minjee, of course, has 3 different ones at this point. But yeah, and then Gino Titicun keeps putting herself right there in the mix, still waiting to win her first major championship title. You've got to look at her as well. But for most players, this is the first time that they will have ever seen this golf course or ever been to Wales. It was funny. I asked Lottie, I said, have you been to Wales? She's like, yeah. Played some European tournaments. Oh, wait, I actually won the stroke play there one year. The Welsh stroke play. It was like in the back of
casual.
Wait a second. Yeah, very casual. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. That was really, I learned a lot, and we'll definitely do this again throughout the season, kind of checking on our LPGA stuff. So thank you so much for joining us, Beth Ann.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me, Dan.
Great interview.
It was a great conversation.
Great conversation. Learned a lot. The LPGA gives career Grand Slams when you've only won 4 out of the 5?
When did they add?
Whoa. I have a button that I need to hit. Andy.
Utter woke nonsense.
There's 5 majors, but you only need to win 4 to win the career Grand Slam? Who decided that was a good idea? If there's 5 majors, which there shouldn't be 5 majors, but if there's 5 majors.
But there are, yeah.
You got to win all 5. But, yeah, no, I do kind of feel bad, like, for, like, that any woman golfer, especially like a young one, like they're just now expected to be like the savior of the sport. It's just I think like no one's asking Chris Gotterup like how he's going to change men's golf.
Well, you heard what Beth Ann said. Like she had a couple great weeks, and now she's expected to be one of the top 5 competitors at the next major.
Yeah,
like, it happens that quick for them because of the depth.
They're starving for it. They're starving for it. All right, let's. That was sort of the state of the PGA Tour. We're going to move into the state of LIV Golf. There's 3 events left for the year. So we're going to start this with a conversation about the Joaquin Niemann situation, which we've talked about. I think our view on that is clear. Joaquin is I mean, if there was a world ranking, which there isn't really, but Data Golf Rankings has him as a top, 10 player in the world. He beats all of these players, and they're trying their hardest in these tournaments, and you can say what you want, but I don't think Niemann not being able to carry it into majors is a LIV problem. I think it's a Niemann problem. So that's sort of aside here. But I want to highlight some of the bigger name players that they paid a lot of money for to join their tour. Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson, Bubba Watson, Matt Wolff, Cameron Smith. A lot of the big names that they've signed, their form has torpedoed. Gone like this. Boom.
A few of those names we don't even hear.
You don't even hear
anymore.
You don't even hear.
Wolff, you don't hear.
You don't hear about Wolff.
Cameron Smith, you don't hear about.
Guito Pereira, you don't hear about. I mean, there's a lot of guys who were, and they paid money, a lot of money for these guys to join, and they're coming and they're playing in these LIV events, and they've almost like disappeared from the conversation. Bryson Hatton and Rahm are really putting a lot on their shoulders. Those three guys are going to be in the Ryder Cup, but they're going to be the only three guys from LIV that are going to be in the Ryder Cup. And so, the PGA Tour has an ability to coin new stars that LIV just doesn't. Mm-hmm. They just don't. The closest sort of thing to a star that they've created is Joaquin Niemann, and all the discourse is about how he doesn't do shit in the majors. It's not like, oh, he's a new star in the game. It's like, well, he hasn't proven it in the majors. Whereas, since LIV has started, Ludwig Åberg has emerged. Like even recently, like a Chris Gotterup has emerged. And, the tour just has this pipeline with the PGA Tour U, and they've got Luke Clanton coming up, and they've got Koiven coming up the next time. And it's just like, I think we've seen this long enough now to know that, like, we know what this looks like. And a lot of the sort of worst possible outcome scenario that the tour tried to make these guys be fearful of going to LIV. You're not going to be able to play in majors. You're not going to be able to play Ryder Cup. It hasn't come to pass. It's not true. I think there were 18 LIV guys in the Open. There was a lot in the man. This is 4 years in, so it's not like that this thing is not gaining traction because of the PGA Tour or because of like all of these like bans. It's just what works on a PowerPoint doesn't necessarily work in real life. And they have, and I've seen the events. I haven't been this year to a LIV event, but from what I gather, it's a really nice experience and it's different and there's energy, and I'm not debating any of that, but it just doesn't have juice. And I don't know if that's because their guys didn't win a major this year because of whatever the Niemann situation was, but it's like the tour made sort of like had these threats or painted this picture. It hasn't come to pass, and they've still not developed.
I think, so I don't want to interrupt.
No, you're good. That was time for you to weigh in.
But like, when we judge this thing against the merits of how we always judged the merits of professional golf, the majors, we can make that juxtaposition. If we analyze both of these things apropos of each other, right? LIV went exactly as planned. To your point,
LIV has gone exactly as planned.
They can still play in the majors.
They've got their players. The
only people that are washed were like kind of already on their way there.
Well, they got
for DJ.
They got the guys that they want. I mean, if you look at that first player impact program list, 5 of the 10 went. It was like Phil and Rahm and DJ and Brooks, and I think Bubba was on that list. Mm-hmm. And they signed their guys. Their guys are still able to play in the Ryder Cup. They're still able to play in majors.
They're not necessarily winning the majors, but are the major winners over the past 3 years any different than you think they might have been? Like maybe Rahm's more in the mix there?
I guess what I'm trying to say with the tour thing is like, LIV has done what LIV wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it still doesn't feel like it's making much of a mark, if that makes sense.
That's the one thing they haven't accomplished, is they haven't like turned over into people like, all right, this thing is great. Like, let's tune in. Let's become fans of a team.
And I thought that this Fox deal would be a game changer for them, but it hasn't been. And a lot of it is because they're so international. The time zones are all like screwed up. But even when they were in the U.S., they were, there was like some car racing on They were on FS2 the other week. And I couldn't believe it.
It's tough to watch. I mean, there's also a lot going on with like a shotgun start and a team competition and an individual competition.
And I reached out to LIV Golf and I said, can we have someone like an executive to ask them some of these questions? And it didn't happen. But yeah, it feels like there's no footprint here in the United States. And again, I live in the United States, so that's kind of my judgment. But, that being said, the sponsorship dollars are way up. You see way more logos, sales, like big companies that are doing these partnerships with LIV Golf. So they're commercializing it, which is how Bryson put it.
We could be sleeping on the long game that, like, actually because of our nationalism and how we're looking at it, like maybe internationally it is growing at like the right clip, right? And like we're gonna wake up one day and be like, oh shoot, like it's on a soccer track.
It doesn't seem to be that way.
I don't know.
It doesn't seem to be that way. But an interesting thing that came out with LIV, and they're going to stop paying fines for the DP World Tour. So this was news on Nuclear Golf. LIV Golf has informed its players that they will stop paying DP World Tour fines on their behalf beginning next year, casting doubt about whether some LIV golfers will be able to maintain their membership on the European circuit and keep Ryder Cup eligibility. Jon Rahm's agent has reportedly communicated to the tour that the Spaniard has no intention of paying any fines. And this is kind of goes with what we've talked about also with LIV, where it's, we had Alan on the show talking about, all of these guys were still on their first contract, and LIV overpaid big time for a lot of players because they had to. They were making these guys take a risk, and that first contract, these 200 million figures, we saw last offseason, the biggest guy they signed was Tom McKibben. The money's not as free flowing as it was at one point. And this is another like step toward that, where it's like, oh, we've paid you, we paid these fines for a couple. We're not just going to pay these in eternity.
Well, now you have this whole new dynamic here with a player calling their bluff and being like, I'm not going to pay any fines. And the DP World Tour, they need Jon Rahm to show up at a tournament a lot more than.
Well, they need him in the Ryder Cup, and they need him in the Ryder Cup, and you have to be a DP World Tour member to play in the Ryder Cup. So it's just I'm. There's been some turnover with LIV, obviously. Greg Norman's not really so much in the picture. Scott O'Neill. And again, it's been 25 months since the framework agreement. And all of this, sort of, we're not paying the fines anymore. The money's, it would seem to be like there's going to be this merger. But everything that we keep hearing about is that the merger is like further apart than it's ever been, or at any point since the framework agreement. And so I just don't really understand what's going on. I don't understand the future. It feels like it's just as long as they want to fund it.
Well, with the leadership change at the tour, you have to imagine that puts a bit of a speed bump on things.
Oh,
right?
It changes it's a totally new negotiation.
Yeah.
And Bubba Watson this week, he actually played really well this week. He finished second, but he was saying, do we have this clip, Andy? I think we do. Let's roll this clip about Bubba.
That people have their game faces on. They're like maybe a lot more serious because there's open zone, there's drop zone, there's relegation, there's top 24.
There's a lot more stress, 100%. There's more stress. There's people not knowing the number. I do know the number, but not knowing the number, how many guys are without a contract next year? So there's people that are stressed. They're trying to get top 24. They're trying to stay in the top 48. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of having to step up and hit great golf shots because they know what's on the line. To be in an elite league like this, they want a contract. They want to be able to play here next year. So there's a lot of stress out there for sure.
They want a contract. It's just
incubated in that situation over there. You know what I mean? Like that's the other thing. Like I can't even think about like. It just feels so separate now.
Well, also, it's so ironic that Bubba's the one saying that because Bubba was in the relegation zone after last year, and then he didn't get relegated. They were like, "Oh, actually, you're fine," So they got to relegate guys. Like I want to see that. It's going to be fascinating to see what they do this offseason.
Yeah, how long do you want to spend on the Asian tour versus the Korn Ferry tour if you didn't leave?
Yeah, exactly. And there's only 3 events left, and then it's another offseason, and we've seen how this goes where. LIV doesn't sign players during their season because they've got this locked field, and that's a whole part of their pitch to their sponsors. Is exactly what you're going to get, and all these major champions, and it'll just be and then the off season, and then the rumor mill starts going. Tony Finau was definitely gone.
Oh yeah,
right. And then Tony Finau didn't go, and then their main signing next year was Tom McKibben last year. So
can you actually see like any? I think that's done. Like that big, like this big name is moving over to LIV.
I mean, well, what's been happening is like they've been signing some younger guys with the lure of guaranteed money, like Ballester. He had a top 10 this week, and so maybe they keep going the younger route. But if I'm a young guy, I mean, it's just such a risk going over there. You can fade into oblivion.
You can't call bluffs. You're not Jon Rahm.
No, you can't. It's I feel like LIV is in a really almost like stuck in neutral. It's like they're doing what they set out to do in the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint, if there's like little boxes on the PowerPoint, they've checked them. They've signed all these top players. They've got all these events all around the world. They've got a lot of sponsors. I just have a hard time believing that the end product, like just because it works in a PowerPoint, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work in real life. It seems to be in a bit of a in a bit of a weird spot.
Well, like Walmart does a lot of revenue, but like, are you dying to go there to buy certain things, or is that like, you know, they make the most money, but are they the coolest store in town?
And it's not, and you know, money is just not. No one's ever, you know, watched a football game because they're like, oh, they're playing for so much
What a
money.
good business plan this
is. Oh my
is
God, yeah, like, you know, Patrick Mahomes, man, like, how much money this guy's making? It almost turns people off. You're like, fuck these guys. I don't know how much money they're making. I want to see them like win the tournament. And like Bubba's saying, these guys want a contract. It's just like, yeah, they want a contract because they want to get the money. It's not like, oh, I want to play for these like big titles, and
Right.
It's like, I want a contract. Anyways, that kind of made me feel
Because they're
like
on a lifeboat.
Yeah.
And if they want a contract, because the other option is
oblivion.
Yeah.
Oblivion. Yeah, we have not seen a guy. I mean, what's his name? Laurie Cantor, I feel like, is the only guy who's gone through suspension, come back, and has like earned his way back. And yeah, they don't want to have to do that. They don't want to have to do that. So that kind of made me feel a little weird. But you know what didn't make me feel weird? Our dog of the week. We have a fantastic dog of the week.
This might be our best dog of the week.
This might be our best ever dog of the week. Our dog of the week this week is Joaquin Niemann from Ireland. So Joaquin Niemann is a member at Lahinch, and he's also a caddy at Lahinch. And we talked on the show how caddies are members of the clubs very often. He caddied in my group when I played at Lahinch, and he was one of the best caddies that I've ever had. My boys who came on me, they still talk about how amazing he was. He won the South of Ireland Championship this week at Lahinch at home. And it was like the first amateur event he had ever played. I looked at his WAGR. He didn't even have a WAGR ranking. He talked about his dream was to just play in the South of Ireland Championship. And he won it at Lahinch at home a couple weeks after he looped for us. It was unbelievable. Do we have the video, Andy, of him caddying? Yeah, there he is showing us his place. There's Jimmy and my buddies, and there's Joaquin Niemann, the South of Ireland Championship. He eagled this hole, by the way, in the final round. What a beast. What an absolute beast. Joaquin Niemann, our dog of the week, winning the South of Ireland Championship. Cracks me up that they have the West of Ireland, the South of Ireland. They can't just call it West Ireland. We got to put the of in there. It's a very sort of anachronistic, kind of an Irish sort of British thing.
We'll take it.
We'll take it. Joaquin Niemann wins the South of Ireland Championship at his home course at Lahinch. It was almost like the greatest game ever played scene, where everyone came on the green afterward, and you know,
we lifted him up.
We wanted to have him on the show, but I think he's probably drinking about a zillion Guinnesses right now.
This is as good as it gets. And you said he doesn't even like have an ambition in amateur golf outside of just like, I want to win this one tournament.
I'm sure he'd love to play in the Walker Cup and all that stuff, but he's not like trying to be like a professional
But
golfer.
he just had one goal, one dream.
His dream was to play in this tournament, just to play in the South of Ireland. And I think this was his first time playing it, and he won it at home at Lahinch. First guy from that area to win since the 50s.
This segment.
This is what it's all about, man. This is what it's about.
It's what it's all about. This is why we love golf. The people who win Dog of the Week emulate why we love this game so much, and none more than our
It's a heartwarming. So Joaquin Niemann, you absolute beauty. What an incredible experience you gave us at Lahinch, and then good things happen to good people sometimes. So our dog of the week is Joaquin Niemann, the South of Ireland champion. All right,
cheers, pal.
That was really good. Really loved that one. All right, we got our zone rank 'em blind, and before we do the rank 'em blind, I wanted to give another zone top 3 flavors rank 'em blind. They make 7 flavors, and all their flavors come in 6 and 9 milligrams. Last week our winner was citrus. What do we have this week, Ben?
All right, you're gonna be tough to top citrus, but we're gonna go with the flavors of mint, peppermint, which is a different kind of mint.
Well, I'm very
There's pepper in it.
Is that what it is? There's a little bit of pepper?
I don't think so.
I'd like a little bit of a clarification on the difference between mint and peppermint.
Well, you'll have to try.
Okay.
And then wintergreen, which I imagine is like a frosty pine.
Wintergreen is number 1 for me. I'm a wintergreen guy. I'm gonna go with peppermint number 2, and then the OG mint number 3.
Wow.
But
you're blind ranking peppermint.
I'm blind ranking it. That's what the blind ranking is. Yes, my go-to is the 6 milligram wintergreen. Okay, let's do the blind ranking, the zone rank 'em blind. Ben, run us through our category.
All right, so this one, actually, Bush in the Building, came from our friend Alex Bush.
Bush in the Building.
He's begging me to do this one for weeks, so we threw it in the mix. This is 3 whole stretches in professional golf.
All with the nicknames and stuff.
Some of them got nicknames, some of them don't, but I think you'll know which, what I'm talking about.
Let's rip.
All right, let's start off at, one of our 3 pro shop locations is down at Ponte Vedra Beach. TPC Sawgrass, number 16, 17, 18.
It's high up there for me. I am a Sawgrass defender. I tell Alex Bush all the time that the Players is probably my favorite week to cover just because I love Ponte Vedra Beach. That golf course is awesome, and there's a word in that golf course. It's the stadium. course, and this feels like a stadium, and you've been there.
Yes.
You see the 16th green, you see that you start to look at where the pin is on 17, you can hear the crowd. That walk from 16 to 17 on that little just kind of thin patch of grass, you're looking at the island green, and then you walk through a tunnel to get to 18. I'm putting that as a solid number 2.
Do it.
I really like, and I feel like, you know, a lot of the kind of architecture wonks like Sawgrass can often be a little bit of a punching bag because it's like the tour's home. I think Sawgrass is awesome. I've never played it. It's probably the golf course that I've walked the most without ever playing. I've been to every player since 2018. I've never played the golf course. Hopefully we can change that. But I'm putting Sawgrass 16 to 18, number 2, and I'm saying it with my chest. I don't feel embarrassed about that.
I like it. Those 3 holes do feel like they're in a dome
awesome.
Together, you know
Par
what I mean?
3. Sorry, par 5, par 3, par 4. You've got a scoreable par 5, then you got a par 3 where anything can happen. You got a beast of a hole with 18.
18's so hard.
18's so hard. I haven't played it, but that's what I see with my eyes. I'm putting that number 2.
All right, we're headed down south for our second option here to Quail Hollow, the Green Mile they call it.
Yeah, Green Mile. I'm putting this number 5. We're gonna do Green Mile because I think it's really cool, and we talked about this when they had the major win at the PGA there. It's very rare that the 16th hole is the 3rd hardest hole on the golf course, the 17th hole is the 2nd hardest hole on the golf course, and the 18th hole is the 1st hardest hole on the golf course. Usually if you have like a hard finishing stretch, it's like the 5th hardest hole, then the 7th hardest hole, and the 2nd. To go 3-2-1 crescendoing like that, pretty damn cool. Number 5. Quail Hollow doesn't really get me going, so that's why it's not higher up. But I'm putting the Green Mile at Quail Hollow at number 5.
As far as Quail Hollow goes, I mean that's the good stuff.
Okay, right? I'll say this. Yeah, without the Green Mile, Quail Hollow's struggling a little.
Tough.
Yeah.
All right, so the next course probably has a couple 3-hole stretches that we could throw in there, but we went with Pebble Beach, number 6, 7, 8.
You're starting with some bangers. You're starting with some absolute bangers. I mean, the 8th might be the most stunning hole in all of world golf. You know, that second shot, and then 6 with, I feel like Tiger made that hole so iconic with that shot out of the cabbage. There's no cabbage anymore down that right rough. It's all fairway now that goes straight into the ocean. 7, one of the 5 most famous par 3s in the world. I'm putting that number 1. I haven't gone number 1 this quickly. But Pebble Beach is the greatest meeting of land and sea. It's also in California, so I've got a little bit of California pride. I'm putting Pebble Beach number 1. We got number 1, number 2, number 5. So hopefully...
You don't even care what comes next.
I don't even care what comes next. I do care what comes next. And there we have 7 spots open, but that's a strong start.
Well, next up is the Bear Trap, PGA National.
Yeah.
15 to 17.
Yeah, I'm putting it 7. You know, it's really hard, but I don't, you know, when people play PGA National, I think a lot of what they say is it's really hard, and the Bear Trap's really hard, and the wind swirls, and hard doesn't necessarily mean great. So I'm putting Bear Trap number 7. All
right. Well, what about the Snake Pit? Another animalistic.
Innisbrook?
At Innisbrook,
yeah,
16 to 18.
I'm putting that number 9. I feel like that's marketing. You know, it's a marketing play. I don't know that the holes themselves look to be that they're hard. They're difficult. But I'm putting that number 9. So what it's called? It's the Snake Pit at what is it? Innisbrook?
Innisbrook.
Yeah. Are the final 3 holes?
16, 17, 18.
16, 17, 18. Yeah. Good marketing. So that's why they're not number 10.
Copperhead course, is that?
Yeah, the Copperhead course. We got number 9 Snake Pit, number 7 Bear Trap, number 5 Green Mile, number 2 Sawgrass, number 1 Pebble 6 through 8. Let's keep it rolling.
So where are you going to fit it, Amen Corner into this?
Number 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, I love Augusta National just as much as the next guy, but you know, I 11. I mean, it's hard. It is Augusta. It's Amen Corner. It's probably the most famous 3-hole stretch. You got 11, which is a really difficult par 4 that I actually think they made a little bit easier by clearing out those trees on the right. Then you've got 12, which is just really cool because they go back into that corner where no one else is. It's like one of the only moments of solitude you get in major championship golf. And then 13. You know, I'm actually going to put it number 3 at 3 because I don't like what they did to 13. I wish I missed the old 13 when they added all that length. Yeah, they added all that length. A lot more guys lay up now. Same thing on 15. I liked the old 13 better.
I blame the guys for that. They don't have the balls anymore.
Yeah, well, they're playing smart golf. But I'm putting Amen Corner number 3.
All right, this next one might be a little tougher for you. Cypress Point, 15 through 17.
Yeah, I mean, 15 is a par 3, the short par 3. 16 is the famous par 3. 17, I think it's a par 4. I don't even really know. I mean, it's not, I don't know it that well.
I don't know it that well either, but I know 16.
Yes, and 15 might even be better than 6. I'm putting that number 6, Cypress, because also, I mean, 18, even though that's not there, I know 18 is like a really funky hole, kind of a weird finisher, but I'm putting Cypress Point 15 through 17 just because maybe this is a lack of ball knowledge, but I don't know the 17th hole all that well, so I'll put it number 6.
That could have been operator error there on my part. There might be more famous holes at Cypress.
No, I mean 15 and 16 are special, but I don't know much about 17. Anyways,
how about which I didn't know they called this the horrible horseshoe. It's number 3, 4, 5 at Colonial.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Horrible horseshoe.
Sounds like some hard golf holes. Again, I don't know if anything that's called horrible for me sounds super
like
appetizing.
Again.
So I'm putting that at number 8 because again, difficulty doesn't necessarily mean great. So I'm putting Colonial 3 through 5. So we only have number 8 and number 4 left.
So where do you put Oakmont? 7 through 9. 7, 8, 9. It's the Church Pew area of the.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the Church Pews are pretty iconic. We were just there, so that it feels. But again, kind of 7, 8, 9. And I feel like with these great 3-hole stretches, I kind of want them to be. Even though I said Pebble number 1, so I'm a huge hypocrite. What do I do here? I'll put Oakmont number 8. Oakmont, because I feel like you got a banger coming with the last. Oakmont 7 through 9. I actually feel pretty good about this list.
So number 4, right? That's what you got left is going to be Shinnecock Hills. Number 12, 13, 14.
Okay, you're asking that with like a question mark. Are you sure?
Question for your reaction, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel good about this list. I actually feel very, very good about this list. We got number 10, Colonial 3 through 5, Snake Pit at Innisbrook, Oakmont is number 8, 7 through 9, number 7, the Bear Trap at PGA National, number 6, Cypress Point 15 through 17, number 5, the Green Mile at Quail Hollow, number 4, Shinnecock 12 through 14, number 3, Amen Corner, number 2, TPC Sawgrass 16 through 18, and Pebble Beach, the greatest meeting of land and sea, number 6 through 8. That is our number 1 3-hole stretch on this week's Zone Rank 'em Blind, and thank you to Zone for sponsoring Rank 'em Blind. I feel like this is one of the segments that people like in the wild say I really enjoy the Rank 'em Blind segment.
On the watch along, they were
liking the Rank 'em Blind. So fantastic there. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. There's tomorrow, today, whatever it might be, the Mid-Am qualifier. I'm looking forward to it. So last week I spoke to Lou Stagner about grinding with Arccos, trying to get better for the Mid-Am qualifier. And I started using Arccos. I told you guys about the smart sensors, these ones right here that screw into the top of my grips. It takes a couple of minutes, and then you pair them to the Arccos app on your phone, and you can track every shot automatically. Now, when they first approached me, and they're like, we want to do this, we want you to track your shots. My one sort of hiccup here is I don't want to have my phone out the whole round because I want to be present when I'm out there. They said, you don't. I said, what do you mean you don't? They said, screw these things in and try us. And it works perfectly. You put the golf course that you're playing, you put these things in, it automatically knows when you hit a certain club. And then all you have to do, they have this Link Pro right here. So you take this thing out, you charge it lasts like 10 rounds, you put it on your hip. All you do is you go next to the pin, you click this button here for where the pin is, and you're good to go. And you play your round of golf, it knows where the pin is, it knows how far the putts that you hold are. And I've got a bunch of information that we're going to show on the screen here, and this app does the rest, and it shows you the data. You got your driver distance, you've got your strokes gain information. I've played since last week, so I wanted to check in a little bit on my stats this week. Playing a little bit better now that I'm back, in my friendly confines. I talked about how much I struggled on the turf. You can see I'm a little too many penalties off the tee, so we're going to have to limit that. Alex Bush is going to be on the bag for me, so hopefully we're going to be in a great mental state. My approach play has been solid. According to Arccos, the best part of my game is 125 to 149 yards, which Lou said one thing that stuck with me, which is numbers don't lie, but they surprise often. And now that I think of it, I'm like, you know what? I actually am pretty solid from that distance. So if you guys are serious about getting better, this is an absolute no-brainer. Honestly, it's. I feel like a tour pro. I have all the information. And information is your friend. Arccos is giving you a free set of these smart sensors plus a 45-day trial of the app, and you can try the Link Pro for free so you can see your own numbers just like this. Click the link in the bio to get started today. I've had a lot of fun diving through my Arccos data. So last week we had help from Lou Stagner. This week we have help from Dr. Izzy Justice.
Oh, I'm excited for this.
So Dr. Izzy Justice is a sports neuroscientist whose name I keep hearing. It's like there's certain names that you hear in golf and you're like, I want to talk to that guy. And one of them is Dr. Izzy Justice. This guy scans players' brains and helps them play better golf with these things called Neuro-Hacks. And I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. It's a little bit of a beefy interview, but I think you're really going to enjoy it. I think it's going to help you guys play better golf. I think it's going to help me play better in my Mid-Am qualifier. Here I am with Dr. Izzy Justice. All right, I'm joined by, this is going to be a really interesting one. I'm joined by Dr. Izzy Justice. I guess I'll let you sort of describe your journey to golf and your work in the game.
Yeah. First of all, Dan, thanks for having me. And I say this all the time, but I think my journey to golf is very Forrest Gumpian. Like one random thing led to another random thing and led to another random thing, and the timing of both my past experience in consulting and human performance, and then this advent of technology that allowed us to look into the human brain wirelessly. Like I tell people all the time, from a human experience perspective, understanding how we work, how we think, how we behave, how we act, how we perform. I think 2015 was a game changer in the history of sort of mankind. I know that's a crazy thing to say, but what really changed is that from that period-ish onwards, we could for the first time look directly into the human brain as it was trying to do something of value. And in golf terms, like making a putt, hitting a golf shot. For regular people, it's being creative, those kinds of things.
Before that, it was like to look into the brain, you'd have to like go into an MRI machine and like it wasn't practical?
Yeah, not just that. So that is true, not just that, but typically the only reason we would even look into the brain was what we call clinical. Something was broken. And so you went to go and specifically like where it was broken gave you a target to go see why it was broken, how can we fix it, trauma, brain injury, epilepsy, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. These are all neurological conditions where something is broken. It never occurred to us, at least not to most of us, to say, what if you're just a regular person and you just want to be the best version of yourself when it matters? So it doesn't matter that you're a good putter on the driving range, on the practice green, or in a practice round. It matters that you can take your skills to a tournament round, whatever that tournament round is for you, and make that putt. Like, do what you're capable of doing.
Okay, so basically, a golfer would come to you, and they would say, "I'm struggling with X, Y, or Z." How do you go about helping them?
Yeah, so great question. So first of all, confession, when people call me, nobody calls me when they're playing well. And it's not just the golfers, right? Usually, not only are they not playing well, but they're rock bottom. And I would say 9.8 out of 10 times, like I haven't counted, but that high, the one thing, Dan, guess what, that they all have in common, right, is they all say, I have so much noise in my head. Like I have so many thoughts or technical thoughts or this, or I'm thinking about this, or, my hands shake, or like it's that kind of stuff. So there are three sort of premises. Let me go through these very quickly, and then I'll answer the question because then it'll make sense. So electricity is the language of the human brain. Not just that, but electricity is also the language of motor movement. But if you think about it, Dan, it has to be electricity. It can't be anything else. It can't be gravity. It can't be light. We need something so fast that we can protect ourselves. So for example, if I'm walking in the corner of my eye, I see a snake. Like that input, that visual input needs to go into the corner of my eye, and boom, in like microseconds, I need to say, danger, bad, I could get killed, and not just do that evaluation, that analysis, but then get my body to jump and run the other way. That's fast. And the only mechanism that can make that processing of danger fast and get your motor movement is electricity. So what I do when people come to see me is, and this is kind of key and groundbreaking, is I put a machine and I stand about 12 feet away from them. So I'm behind them or not in their line of sight. So I try to eliminate as many variables. And I look to see what is generally the electricity in their brain in the moments before, let's just take putting, before they hit a putt, while they're hitting a putt, and then after they hit a putt. And then is there a pattern? Is there a pattern when they make putts versus not making putts? I didn't know the answers to this question, to be honest. And I found that lo and behold, not only is there a pattern, like it's very clear. So if we were to simplify this, Dan, and let's just imagine that electricity is 0 to 100 hertz. 100 is very high. Like the best, like if I were to ask you, Dan, let me ask you, when you're putting your best, give me 3 words that you're thinking, feeling, or doing when you're putting your best.
I would say comfortable. I would say
comfortable,
loose,
and
I would say Fearless. You're thinking, you know, I always talk about like when I'm playing my best golf, and this is actually good timing because I'm playing in a qualifier tomorrow. So we did a little pre-interview, and I think you can help me a little bit with some of these Neuro-Hacks that you have. But, you know, I always talk about playing offense versus playing defense when you're playing golf. It's a totally different mindset, right? When you're thinking about, you see the right shot in your head, you're thinking positive thoughts as opposed to, you know, I don't play my best when I'm thinking about the OB or you know, the ridge past the hole where I really don't want to hit it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So those words that you use, comfort, fearless, and loose, I can give you 10 other words like that. Calm, relax, confident. All these are English language words. They're not real. They're just words. But they're all describing 10 hertz in the brain. So that's the frequency.
You've got and that's consistent from person to person. That's where you want to be.
Yes. And I'll tell you why. At 10 hertz, two magical things happen. Now, think of traffic. When there's a lot of traffic and you want to get somewhere, well, it takes forever, right? But when there's no traffic, you just fly. Wherever you want to go, you're there in like 2 or 3 minutes. So when we have lots of thoughts, you're at 80, 90, 100 hertz. There's a lot of traffic in your brain. But the magic of 10 hertz is two things. And one of them you actually just said, ironically. Maybe you weren't aware of it. But the first magic of 10 hertz is that because the traffic is low, the sensory input is amplified. So you see the line, you feel your grip, you can even feel the weight of the putter head. Sensory input is always there, by the way. You're always seeing, hearing, feeling something. You know what I mean? I gave you the example when we did the pre-call. Like imagine you've had a very stressful day and you got a 30-minute drive home at the end of your day and you put music on. But when you get home and if your wife said or whoever said, hey, what did you listen to? You wouldn't be able to tell them. The input was there, but it was clogged because there was traffic in your brain. So the magic of 10 hertz in golf is that it gets the traffic down, and suddenly when you look at the target and you look back down, you remember it. You know exactly where the ball is going to go. You know exactly what tree you want to fade it off or draw it off, or the spot on the green that you want to land it on. You're feeling the grip pressure. Your entire body as you're making that backswing, you know without thinking how far you need to go. You're seeing the pattern that you want to shape the ball or the trajectory that you have. All of that is sensory input. And the sensory input can only be registered in the brain when the traffic is low at 10 hertz. Now, the other magical thing that happens at 10 hertz is, remember, all golf swings, putting, chipping, it's a motor movement. Like muscles have no memory. They get their command from the brain. And that command has to travel using electricity, right? So a quadriplegic, for example, Dan, their brain works fine. Their muscles work fine, but they have a spinal injury, so there's no electricity going, so they can't move their lower body. So the second magical thing that happens at 10 hertz is that the motor movement is exactly how you want it. You are magically applying the right sequencing for whatever shot you want to hit. You're magically applying the right force on that ball the way that you want to hit it. So I go back. When guys come to see me, or whoever comes to see me, I look at their brain, and this is what I think your viewers are going to love, in my opinion. The moment that you need to master, if you have a 60-second pre-shot routine, when in that 60 seconds, Dan, do you think you got to be at 10? When is it most important that you got to be at 10 hertz?
I would think right before you hit the shot, but maybe that's wrong.
No, that's right. That's exactly right. So if you're at 10 hertz while you're walking between shots, you know, it doesn't matter. Or if you're at 100 hertz. Like, you know what I mean? But so the task of a golfer is because it's not a reactionary sport. Nobody's moving in front of you that you got to move along with them, like basketball. So it's so much of an easier ask of a golfer to say, hey, in my 60-second pre-shot routine, it's the last 10 seconds that I need to get to 10 hertz. Right? And that's where the Neuro-Hacks come in. The Neuro-Hacks allow you to get to that 10 hertz in the moments that matter, because in those last 10 seconds, when you take that last look at the target, whether you're putting, chipping, at that moment, when you look back down, because the hardest thing about golf is that your eyes are not on the target. Golf is a target sport. There's no other target sport in the world where your eyes are not directly at the target.
Right. If you're like, I'm thinking about the guy who went super viral, the guy with the gun in the Olympics. He's just like eyeballing it.
Yes, exactly. But golf makes target hard because your eyes are down at the ball, and they have to be. because you got to strike the ball. So the brain's ability to remember what it just saw 3 or 4 seconds ago is critical. And I'll do so you're in LA right now, Dan?
I'm in LA right now,
All right.
yep.
I'm going to ask you two questions, okay? How far are you from?
From what?
Exactly. Okay, let me ask you another question. How far are you? Okay, all right, good. How far are you from New York?
2,500 miles.
There you go. Now look at the difference between those two questions. The only difference was I gave you a destination in the other one. And as soon as I said New York, did your brain not draw a line going east and kind of up?
Yeah, I've done that on maps before. I lived in New York at times. I wanted to see how far I was from home, and I've done that before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the same thing that your golf brain needs over a ball when looking down. It needs to know where New York is. Where do I want the putt to enter the hole? What is that tree that I want to fade it off or dirt off? What is that landing position for my chip shot or my bunker shot? Without the destination, and the person that discovered these neurons in the brain, they're called grid neurons. The grid neuron is your destination. It's a target. The woman that discovered it won a Nobel Prize for them because it's the destination, the target, that gives you a reference from how far you are from it, which creates scale, which creates force, which creates muscle sequencing. So that is best at 10 hertz.
How do you get someone to 10 hertz?
All right, there you go. So let's do, as a courtesy to you, I am going to give you 5 Neuro-Hacks, and let's do them together.
Let's go. Perfect for the qualifier tomorrow.
Yeah, and these are things that you can do in those 60 seconds. If at point 60 seconds before you hit the shot, your brain is saying, don't go left, my hands are shaking, don't leave it short. Or, gosh, I'm just coming off 2 straight bogeys, I better hit a good shot. Well, you're nowhere near 10. So that would be a good example. Let me do a quick Neuro-Hack. So let's do the one that I did with you, if you don't mind. So,
I love that one because I'm going to tell you something. I went to dinner with some friends last night, and I was telling them about this, and they were like, oh, my God, that actually worked. So let's do it. I got to get a golf club, right?
Get a putter or just anything.
I'll grab a putter, yep.
Yeah, and again, while you're grabbing that, let me just tell everybody, Neuro-Hacks take somewhere between 5 to 10 seconds. And what they do is not permanently, but temporarily, it gets your brain to that magical 10 hertz where your sensory input is amplified and you can really see the target that you have picked, and which then allows you to have the right mode of sequencing to the shot that you want to hit. Right? So that's what a Neuro-Hack is. All right, so grab the grip. So please,
you have like 100 of these that you give your players or something.
I have several hundred, and I can measure them so I can make sure which ones work best for each one. But the ones that I'm going to give you, they work for 80% of all people. Right? Okay. So don't start, and if you're people watching, also don't start until I say go very loudly, because I need to explain to you. So not now, Dan, but when I say go very loudly, on a scale from 1 to 10, I want you to create grip pressure that is maximum 10. Not now, maximum 10. So go as fast as you can, squeeze it really tight, squeeze your shoulders, squeeze your jaw, squeeze your leg. Like, I want maximum tension in your body. I will only have you be in that position for like 3 to 5 seconds. But here's the key, Dan. When you're in that position, I'm then going to say go to 2, but I want you to go to 2 as slow as you can. You can even do a countdown, like a 9 and 8. And with each one, let go of a little bit of tension until there's just 2 left. When you get to 2, this Neuro-Hack is called 10-2. Ready?
I'm ready.
Right. And go. Squeeze. Tight, 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 tight. All right, go to too slow. Go to too slow. Okay. So what did 10 feel like to you? 2 or 3 words. Can't hear you, Dan.
I always do that. Andy's really mad at me. I said hot, squeeze, and tight.
Okay. And what did going to 2 feel like?
I would say clarity, slow, and chill. I mean, I'm going to say something that's a little bit not PG-13. It felt like after you do something really fun.
Yes. So the words that you use at the beginning of this session, you said comfort, fearless, and loose.
Yeah.
Those are the exact words that are similar to what you just said going to 2.
It really works, guys. If you didn't do that, like rewind and do it again. Because it's almost like you just worked out.
Yeah. All right. So that's one. Now, is that something that you can do 60 seconds before you make a putt?
Definitely.
Is that something that you can do after you've made a triple bogey and you're walking up to the tee box to hit the next tee shot?
Yes.
Exactly. You don't need someone's permission. It's perfectly legal. You're using your hands. So
I gotta think the sports psychologists don't like you very much.
No, they don't.
Because and I want to ask you about this. Well, it's interesting because sports psychology is not a new discipline, right? Like people, be the ball, like all that. It's been around since Happy Gilmore 1.
It hasn't.
How is what you're doing different? I mean, it's obviously different, but it almost feels like there's almost like a morality argument. Like, should there be these hacks? Should there be these like shortcuts? And you're just basically saying like there are.
Yeah, exactly. And look, we don't need to be perfect the whole round of golf. We can't even be perfect as human beings one whole day. But you know what we can do, Dan? We can be perfect when we need to be. Like one of the discoveries that I've made is that every higher human experience, like enjoying a meal with your friends, painting something, like something euphoric, laughing, they're all happening at around 10 hertz. And why this is different than psychology is because I think we're siblings of the same family, but I just view that, we just have newer information about the human brain. I gave you the analogy of using, a road atlas back in the day to navigate where you want to go. Well, now we have GPS. The road atlas is not wrong, but technology is allowing us to do simpler, faster, and more efficient ways. And that's what all this is. It's just a newer way because we have access to understanding the human experience better in a way that maybe 20 years ago, 100 years ago, we did not.
I'm going to be squeezing the crap out of that driver on the first tee tomorrow. Okay, let me get a few more for tomorrow.
Let's do a few more. Okay, so this is very similar to the other one, but this is kind of a low grade. Again, don't start until I say go very fast. Okay, now don't start doing it. I literally want you to count from 1 through 10, like logically, but as fast as you can. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. Like count, all right? Then I want you to count down from 10 to back to 0 as slow as you can. Ready?
I'm ready.
And go.
Wait, am I supposed to do it out loud?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I'll do it again. Okay.
And go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then am I supposed to go down?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Down to 2.
Yeah. No, down to 0. So it's called 10, 10. So
okay,
go to 10 super fast and go back to 0 super slow.
Okay. You tell me when.
Go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
It's the same process of you almost put everything, you put all the stress into something.
Exactly. So what we're actually doing, just to go nerd on you just a little bit, and I apologize for that.
I love the nerd. Don't apologize.
Okay, good. So we have a system in our body. It's called the vagus nerve. It's basically our military system. It's all the organs that are designed to protect us when a lion is coming to eat us or there's a fire. When you do something aggressively, intentionally, like the squeeze and then you intentionally slow down after that, you're basically telling your brain, I'm not in real danger. Because there's a big difference between making a 6-foot putt that you gotta make and a lion coming to eat you. They're not the same things, but your brain processes them with the
same.
Exactly. But by doing these neuro-hacks, you're telling the brain, no. The one is an existential threat, and one is I just got to get to 10 hertz for the next minute or two, long enough for me to hit this shot. All right? You want to do one more?
Let's do one more, and then I have a few more questions before I let you go.
Okay. All right. So this one is take the palm of your hand like that. So look at the palm of your hand inside. Yeah, there you go. Now, not now. Look at me if you don't mind. Okay, so when I say go, I want you to look at the palm of your hand, and I want you to find 6 unique lines in the palm of your hand and see if you can just trace them like 2 or 3 seconds each. Ready? And go.
Okay. Never really paid attention to that before.
So I promise you, if I was measuring you right now, you'd be somewhere in the teens, right? And is this something that you can do if you're waiting on the tee box to hit your shot?
Yes.
Is this something you can do when you're waiting for your turn to make a 3-foot or 4-foot birdie putt?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So all you're doing.
So you're telling me there are top players, on the tours, whatever, who are using these hacks in competition, and it's making a difference in their games.
On every tour, yes. And all of these, not all of them, a lot of them are in my new book, which I told you about, The Brain Swings Every Club. So now you understand the title of the book. The brain really does swing every club.
Right. And so to sort of ignore it doesn't really make sense. I wanted to ask you, Doctor, because you've studied so many different disciplines. There's a bit of a trend in our game, and I'm not, this is not new information here. Golf Digest wrote an article about this. Microdosing or not even microdosing, hallucinogens, mushrooms. Are a lot of people doing it? Is it to try to get to 10 hertz, and does it work?
Yeah. So to the best of my knowledge, the answer is yes, and this is all anecdotal data that I have. So I agree with the data that you're getting. There are two reasons that I think people are doing this. So one is just being human today is mentally very expensive. So I tell people all the time, it has never been easier, especially in the game of golf, to be technically good. Like there's so much technology now that is so easy to diagnose, even self-diagnose. And
information. I mean, what you were saying about how we know about the brain is the same thing we know about golf swing and about, the force plates and all this stuff.
Exactly. Videos, all those kinds of things. So it's never been easier to be technically good at golf, but it's never been harder to be mentally good at golf. And the reason is, like the average EEG, so EEG is the measure of the electricity in a human brain. And there's a doctor, Amen, he's done 80,000 brain scans. I've done about 18,000 brain scans, so he's done a lot more, and he's done it on the clinical side. But all neuroscientists around the world have the same data. So the average EEG, Dan, of a normal human being like you and me is the equivalent of a schizophrenic patient from the 1950s.
Come on.
Yes, sir. If I blindfolded you and put you in my DeLorean and took you to 1950, you would be clinically diagnosed as being schizophrenic. And that's because of these little suckers over here. We're just consuming constant stimulation. So these drugs that people are taking, it's just to get the noise down in their brains. It's just like there's so much pressure and tension and input and negativity that we're consuming on a constant basis that the brain just wants a break. And so as professional athletes, there are many drugs that you cannot take, but there's some that you can. So to me, those drugs are a shortcut. You don't need those drugs if you learn how to use Neuro-Hacks.
And there's a downside to the drugs.
Absolutely. So the brain, if you hey Dan, take your hands and kind of join them like this.
Okay.
Yep. So if you look at that, and from your wrist up is the size of your brain. So from the wrist up, if you join your hands like that, that's the size of your brain. It's that small, and it's caged in your skull. So you can't touch one thing in the human brain and not touch like a whole bunch of other stuff. That's why medication, unless you're a harm to yourself and to others, should be taken very seriously. Like you should only take medication that impacts the human brain if you're harmful to yourself or to others. Because you can't fix one thing and not screw up a whole bunch of other stuff. And at the end of the day, we want sensory input. We want to taste the food that we're eating. We want to pay attention to someone that's talking to us and listen to their story and be present. We want to laugh. We want to cry. We want to feel sadness. We want to feel joy. We want to feel sorrow. We want to be creative. These are all cognitive conditions, and that's what creates a rich human experience. That's what makes us feel good each day is when, you think of many things, you feel many things.
I mean, we could do this all day. Yeah. I know are there any players that you can tell me that you work with?
There are a few out there, and maybe I'll tell you who they are. But you can see them if you watch the guys that I work with, and I work with many on the PGA, on all the tours, frankly. And some of them were kind enough to give me their name for the book. Like on the Corn Ferry Tour, it's Cole Hammer and Kyle Westmoreland and Kyle Stanley, and like just a bunch of guys. And you should have them on your show and ask them how they use it. There are other guys that I don't feel comfortable sharing with you right now, but at some point I will, I'm sure. And I think you'll be surprised.
Well, I'm gonna be is it Neuro-Hack or Neuro-Hack?
Neuro-Hack. Neuro-Hack.
Neuro hack.
Yes. Let's do one more just to wrap up.
Let's do it.
Okay. Grab that putter again. Okay. So all I want you to do is take your right hand. Are you right-handed, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, good. So just hold the putter with your left hand anywhere you want, like maybe in the middle of the shaft somewhere. Okay, now take your right hand and just kind of close your eyes and feel the shaft all the way to the putter with your right hand. Like take your right hand on, yeah, exactly. Just go all the way down to the putter head. Feel the grooves and the shape of the putter head.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So again, what you're doing is you're giving your brain sensory input. Sensory input is 10 hertz because there's no judgment. It's happening right now. And all sensory input goes to the same bedroom in the brain called the thalamus. So by activating one, you're activating all of them. So when you do go over the ball, I want you to feel comfortable, fearless, and loose. That means when you use those terms, I want you to understand that when you say comfort, fearless, and loose, you are basically saying that my senses are super active. I am present. I see my target. I feel my club head. I'm going to send this ball where I want it to go.
Interesting.
So use the Neuro-Hacks in the last 60 seconds. Gauge where your thoughts are. If they're negative in nature, do a Neuro-Hack. But if you're good, like a baseball pitcher throwing a no-hitter, you're fine. You don't have to do anything.
Right. Right. Yeah. So it's not like if I watch your guys, they're not going to be doing it on every single shot.
Exactly.
It's when they notice, oh God, I got some negative thoughts creeping in, or I don't like this tee shot or whatever it might be.
If you miss a 2-foot putt, you better be doing a Neuro-Hack on your way to the next $2, right?
I'll keep that.
Exactly.
I will not forget that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Doctor. I really appreciate it. This has been fascinating. Everyone, go check out his book, The Brain Swings Every Club. I actually do feel great right now, which I know you're probably just thinking, oh, he's just saying this. Do those hacks we were talking about and notice how everything just seems to slow down. And it's kind of amazing. So I really appreciate you hopping on, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers. I've noticed that there's more and more golf clubs that are coming onto the set as we're all starting to do these Neuro-Hacks. What did that do? That blow your mind?
It blew my mind. I've learned about some of this stuff before. Like I've tried these things where like you close your eyes and you rub your two fingers together, and the thought you have is like feel the ridges of your fingertips.
Well, it's like what he was saying about noise, right? And like and I've done, did you watch what was that? You might know. What was the documentary on Netflix about social media?
Oh,
Social Dilemma.
Yeah, Social Dilemma.
And one of those things was like the human brain is just not designed for this much feedback, right? Like back in the 1950s, you might get like once a quarter, your boss would call you in, or once a year and be like, here's how you're doing in your job. Yeah. I every video I post, I get told that I'm the worst person that's ever lived.
Right.
Like there's just way more input. And when you're doing these sensory things, you remove that like judgment piece from, it's just like, it's what's happening. It's like,
it's a complete distraction that you then put in a certain place. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And within the last 60 seconds, that's like the key part, right? Because you're like, I have 60 seconds to just be in the zone.
Right, and it's not going to make you there the whole time.
No.
But I thought it was super interesting, and
it's
also
so simple.
And also like the hallucinogen stuff is really interesting because it's a real thing.
Well, I actually
it's a real thing on tour, and it makes sense because golf is like, that's like a huge thing in mental health right now, right? Like these, like how can all this stuff help you, or not help you? And there's and it makes sense that golf being like you said, you're not reacting to someone. You pull the trigger when you're ready. It makes sense that golfers are like going to pretty significant lengths to try to figure out their brains.
I mean, that's clearing the swing thoughts, right? Like, we could have come up with that without talking to the doctor, right? Like, if I had no swing thoughts.
But how do you actually do it?
How do you actually do it? And it's so simple. But I remember, like, do you remember CBD got really popular like 6 years ago and everyone was taking it? I remember we got some at the office and we all tried some. Like, what I described the feeling as was like, it swept the cobwebs out of the back of my brain. It just made it a little bit more clear. Yeah. It's the same feeling when you release the tension of that grip neuro.
It's the Neuro-Hack. When you squeeze that grip, guys, if you haven't do it, you feel really calm, because it's almost like you have these things in your head, and instead of trying to like fight them, you just like put them all into one thing, and then you get rid of them.
It's like 10 seconds of learning the grass is greener on the other side when you're not squeezing as hard as you can.
Yeah.
Life is good.
And what he said of like, I'm in this qualifier, like if I, out of bounds down the right is not the same as, someone in my family is sick or something like it, but it feels the same. That's just your brain playing tricks on you. So this guy, Dr. Izzy Justice, just remember that name.
Remember that name. I feel like we're going to be talking about him a lot over the next couple years.
Dr. Izzy Justice, man. Yeah. And it's not a name that you're going to forget. No. So check out his book. We're gonna move into Chirps. Chirps from the gallery, one of my favorite segments that we always do. We got English, Harris English. Can we show this up there? Ozzy Osbourne was arrested. So Ozzy Osbourne passed away, and that does look a lot like Harris English. Especially, it's one from the side, the profile.
Oh, I think both. I see it.
You see it in both? Yeah. I see it especially in the profile. Speaking of weird lookalikes, how about our next one? Hulk Hogan, also R.I.P. That's Scotty Scheffler.
That is. Oh my God.
Hulk Hogan in Heist. You see the resemblance? That looks just like Scotty Scheffler.
I want to see this haircut on Scotty.
That would be a sick. Yeah, they should have brought that back. This was one about Niemann on LIV. Joaquin Niemann is a top 5 player in the world when Daft Punk is playing in the background. That one gave me a good laugh.
Majors just need to be a bit
This
louder.
One's a little bit sad. The Augusta Hooters. Oh. This was a mainstay on Washington Road. A lot of people who don't know golf. What's Augusta like? I'm like, well, Augusta's incredible. If you walk outside, Washington Road's a totally different country. And there's Hooters on the side. There's no more Hooters anymore. And this is where John Daly used to set up shop and sign autographs. And Rick Gaiman, our guy, miss him. I miss him. Rick Gaiman wrote, JD should buy it and rename it Claret Jugs.
JD has the opportunity to do the funniest
Do it, JD.
Come on, bro.
And our last one, this is a bit of a trend. It feels like a violation. So this is Michael Bloomberg, and I saw this, and you can go on the Gin app and you can search and you can see where someone is members, where they're a member.
Where they've been playing.
No, where they're well, you can see where they've been playing. Yeah, but you can see where they're a member. Michael Bloomberg's a member of National Golf Links, Shinnecock, Century Country Club, Atlantic Golf Club, the Golf Club of Purchase, Glen Arbor Golf Club, MacArthur Golf Club, Emerald Dunes Golf Club, Seminole Golf Club, Cypress Point Club, and Monterey Peninsula Country Club. He's a 22 index, which is tough to see. But this feels like a little bit of a violation. You know what I mean?
Well, he's a public figure, you know?
But it's for everybody.
It's public records. Yeah, yes, yeah, people can look
You're okay with just anyone being able to just
You guys want to know what I shot at Brentwood last week?
Yeah, you can go look it up. Someone actually doxed me and posted my scores from...
Saw that.
They weren't pretty. I don't know. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I feel like some things should remain sacred. You can see what the scores... To see where a guy's a member, you can go look up at Tom Brady. You can go look up Patrick Mahomes. You can see where these guys are members.
That's a politician, though. You know what I mean? In fact, he's going to run for president again. I want to know where his priorities are.
Well, his priorities are at Seminole, National, Purchase.
So he's got my vote.
Yeah, it's quite a roster that guy has. Before we go into our clip of the week, just a quick special thanks to Zone for all they do. I always carry a can in my bag. Warning: this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Underage sale prohibited. I've told you this before, but when I need to dial things in on the course, I go with Zone nicotine pouches. They have a stronger nicotine intensity. The others really aren't even close. They have better flavors. They last longer, and they're more comfortable than any other pouch out there. My go-to is the 6 milligram wintergreen. As we talked about earlier, they make 7 flavors in both 6 and 9 milligrams. The big game changer, they have 20 pouches per can versus the other guys have 15. I mean, if you want more, I won't play 18 without at least one can of Zone in my bag. If you want Zone pouches at a discount and mailed right to your door, head to nicokick.com, NICOKICK.com, and enter code DanOnGolf20 at checkout for an additional 20% off. Our clip of the week. I remember when Rory won the Masters, and I said, it was pretty amazing that no clips from his celebration came out. This was the clip that I was expecting, and it makes me very, very happy to see Rory, and maybe it took a couple months, whatever it is. It makes me very happy that he's on this victory tour. This is Rory, I assume, somewhere in the south of France or something, just living at large. What a great show, you guys. Give us a like and a subscribe. I love you, Golf Sickos. We'll see you next week right here on Dan on Golf, presented by Knockaround. For now, enjoy our clip of the week.
Let's go! Let's go!